And the sooner you embrace this thing and start stepping out in this thing, and you realize it's not what you want to do, who are called according to your purpose, no. It's what? His purpose. In other words, to say this in Chinese accent, if you do what your parents want you to do, you will be blessed. If you want to go to Branson, you realize I've already given you the keys to go to Branson? You realize that? And see, in my vision, I'm going to tell you what I say. This is what I say. As in, do you remember when you and Mimi went and we stayed in that motel that had that water park inside of it? Hush as well. But see, I see that being able to have a pool and have a slide and be able to hang out in the pool and just, I can see this thing. I can see walking around through Branson. I can smell the fried potatoes and the onions and things like that. And I've given you the directions and, not Booker thing, I've given you the idea and the dream. But you've got to make a choice. I have things that I need to get done. God has things that He needs to get done that only you can do. God calls you according to your abilities. So, let's think about this thing. So how do we do this thing? Number one, you got to know God better. Draw close to Him, He'll draw close to you. The more you know God, the more you'll start understanding God's got this. If you know God in the past has helped you out, bailed you out, then you know God is going to do it again. He's going to be there. God is there. Once you know these things, and this is so bound inside of you that people say, well, God's like this, God this. I don't give a crap what you say that God is or isn't. I know inside of me what God is and what God isn't. If you say that God is a tree, great, I'm glad your God is a tree. Expect that tree to answer your prayer. I expect my God to answer my prayer. I expect my God to tell me no. I expect my God to shut doors that I'm too stupid to walk through. I expect that. Why? Because I think it's good for me. I know how God works. I've studied how God. So that's the thing. The next thing is discerning His will. Discerning is a thing where you know what I want you to do. Axon, if your daddy says, hey Axon, I want you to go help Papa, what does your daddy want you to do? Help me or get off tablet? Which one is it? Both, a little bit, isn't it? But He also wants you to have something more. Your daddy wants you. Your daddy has a vision for you kids. Am I wrong? And the thing is that your daddy wants you to go away from where you're at. He's trying to show you these things. The next thing is you got to embrace your gifts. You got to be who you are and understand who you are and how you got to use this thing. Some of you have got, I will never be Artie. I'm the last person. If I see you at a grocery store, if I know you, I may say hello. Odds are I want out of the grocery store. I've got things I want to go do. And if I ain't seen you in 47 years, I probably don't want to talk to you now. I'm sorry. There's a reason I ain't seen you in 47 years. Because I don't want to see you. I couldn't stand visiting churches. Oh, we ain't seen you in 120 years. Oh, you ain't heard of this new phone? Yeah. My friend said, well, I ain't heard from you in a while. I said, oh, so you've got one of them old phones, right? What do you mean old phones? You got a receive-only call. Well, I don't want to reach out. I said, I didn't either. Let's just be real. You didn't want to reach out to me. I didn't want to reach out to you, so let's just leave it there. I can't stand fake relationships. And the other side of it is they come up and tell you, oh, man, we missed you. Well, you ain't called. So I don't want to hear it. So I would always dodge church. I would always leave during invitation. It's the best time to leave. Let everybody else, while they're dealing with stuff, I'm hitting the door going buffet. All right. Step out on faith. In other words, do something. Try to do something important. So in other words, like Artie, he always was telling me about how he turned this ministry of going out there and talking to people. He'd sit there and talk to people. And he'd share them about God. And I'm like, man, because that's what you do. I love that you embrace that. I love that about you. I ain't doing it because that's not my calling. I may not talk to a stranger. But this is my calling. This is what I embrace. I embrace this thing. This is what I do. This is my calling. You have your calling. My calling is not your calling. Your calling is not mine. But God is going to work things together. If you're doing your job, doing what, it don't have to be a Sunday school teacher. God, you know what God has called you to do, but the sooner you start doing it, the sooner start things working out for you. Oh my gosh, number 5, live a holy life. Because guess what? God will not bless disobedience. He's not going to do it. If you want to line up all these things, the thing is, it says, I am a holy God and my people will be what? Exactly. Does it say my people will be nearly holy? My people will be kind of good people? The thing is, how you are is how you reflect your relationship to God. If you are a hypocrite, in other words, you love God in public, but you don't show it around other people. Okay. The last one, be patient and persistent. In other words, you got to wait on the right door and keep on keeping on. You got to wait. God does not move instantaneous. He don't do it. Sometimes he does. Sometimes he don't. I've been waiting now. How long have I been gone from Custom Auto? How many things have I looked at and we've talked about? The things we talked about last night about I thought I was going to be this insurance guy and I was going to be this. God didn't want that. But I had to keep on, Dory. If I sit down on my butt, I'm waiting on God's will. I'm waiting on God's will. I remember telling my pastor that I'm waiting on God's will. You know what God said? Nothing. God didn't say nothing. My pastor said, you ain't waiting on God. So, I'll give you an idea. I'm going to give you an illustration of one. David. David is a prime example. David knew as a young child that he was called. He knew it. He had an intimate relationship with God. He said he was a man after God's own heart. He would sit out there. David was at peace. He was a young man. How old was David when he received his anointing? What have I tried to teach you? That some things are very important, right? Some things are very important. Some things are very important? What's one of the things that there's an entire book in the Bible? I told somebody, it's so funny when you see somebody with a tattoo, and you go, what's that tattoo mean? A number. And it was a number. And I said, so what is that number? She said, well, it's an angelic number. Be cautious of angelic numbers, because did you know that demons are angels that just went astray? Numbers are so important that demons use them. Okay, understand that. David was 15 years old when David was anointed. 15. In the Bible, it is a period of rest. It is a period of deliverance and a period of new direction. David had it in his mind, the direction that he was going to go in. He knew it, but God was going to move him. He was going to change him. But God did it when he was 15 years old. There are several instances in the Bible of the number 15 that God used it to change. But he marked as well a time that spiritual growth truly began. 15. Isn't it funny that he was anointed king at the age of 15? How old was it when he became king?
30.
He was 30 when he was crowned king, but you realize that's not when he became king?
He became king at a young age.
He became king at 15.
Yeah.
He was anointed.
He was anointed. He was anointed king at 15 years old. The man who changed the world was 15 years old when God chose him. 15 is a very important number. 30. 30 means that you're old enough to do something. That's what it means in the Bible. But it's also the building block of the universe. Everything is built around 30 degrees. 30 degrees is all in the pyramids. It is in your calendar. It is in your clock. Everywhere, 30 is used. 30. How old was Jesus?
30 ministry.
He's 30 when he started his ministry. Think about this thing. He's old enough to do something. He's had 15 years to get ready for his time. 15 years marks a lot of patience.
But didn't he talk to the elders when he was 12?
Jesus did. But see, there goes again. There's a whole other number. Yeah. Because again, well, actually, if you think about this thing, there are several instances, and it's just really funny when you start breaking these things down, you start seeing the significance of these numbers and these times and everything like that. But the bottom line in all this is the parallel of men and women who have been called, who have been anointed, who are walking and living through all this thing. We've got Paul. Paul was anointed at a young age, devoted his life to religious studies and all this stuff, and then he did not walk into it until on the road to Damascus, wherever he was, Damascus Road. And it happened at that point when his real anointing fell down upon him, and it changed him, it redone him. But even within that, this man knew that once his calling and his anointing was aligned up with God, because Paul was trained in all these areas for this moment. Does that make sense? And so, in other words, all these things all coalesced. And I was thinking about the other day, and you tell people, well, that was my first love, and these, you think about all these people. And it's so funny, what we thought was going to be that one, I had to go and experience and go through all the relationships to finally come to the concept that this is my one. This is the one that God had for me from the very beginning. But I had to go through crap, Sabrina, to appreciate a good one. Now that I have a good one, what does money have to do?
Keep it.
Keep it. I have to do the things that she wants done. As well, I have to be patient. I have to say, okay, what is it that you want? What is it that you want? So we've got this ongoing debate now about her storage area, and I have got this new idea about lattice. I think lattice is really good because it breathes. And we stick some fake greenery through it. Long story, because she anted me. But the thing is that I thought drywall too. I think drywall would work good too. Long story, that's the inside of it. She told me one time, she says, if I wanted your opinion, I'd give it to you.
That's what I know.
So all this being said, guys, if we want to start living in this lifestyle, all we've got to do is two things. First and foremost, love God. And to love somebody means that you place them in position over you. That's what love is. Love makes you are a servant. You serve that person. It is your job. Love God from that aspect. And then those that are called according to his purpose. In other words, those that feel drawn to him. It's that drawing in to wanting to serve, to wanting to be what you want me to be, God. And who is studying, who's looking, and who's trying to fit within these parameters, who's discarding everything else, every other temptation. Everything is focused upon this idea. When you start living that lifestyle, just two simple things. When you start living that lifestyle, yes, they're broad terms, they're broad things that develop a lot of things. But all of a sudden now, you start having confidence when things, as a perfect example, something told me when I did the business insurance that I've got something wrong, that I don't have something right. I think I filled out something wrong. A guy told me yesterday, he said, man, Lonnie, you said, you've got insurance, right? And I was like, yeah. He said, let me tell you a story. and he told me a story that he didn't have insurance, and he threw a rock, a little bitty pinhole rock, and it hit an outside condenser. And it poked a hole in it. A rock, little bitty rock. I feel them son of guns every time I weed eat. My legs were peppered. I got them hitting my face. I never thought. I think about them hitting glass. I think about them hitting cars. Never thought a rock hitting an outside condenser. It just happened to go through them little vents, and it poked a real small hole in their outside condenser. See, I was given a warning. Something is getting ready to happen. Because this has kind of caught my mind, and I've been on this here recently about making sure. Next week, I'm going to sit down with my real insurance agent. I'm going to say, let's clarify some things, because see, Monty bought discount insurance from AutoZone. Pretty much, I'm not going to say it. I've catered my own insurance. I've created it because it was cheap. Okay? But for some reason, I've realized that God is speaking to me and said, Monty, go back and fix this thing. Next week, I'll be contacting my insurance agent. He and I are going to sit down, Chris. I'm going to say, hey, I want to make sure that everything's in order. I'm going to pay you to do this thing. It's going to cost me. They'll say it says, you pay me now, or you pay me later. I would rather know that I'm going, because I'm moving into a territory and God is saying, Monty, get this right. Get this right. Because, again, I don't need to spend $2,000 because this guy had to spend $1,800 or something to replace an outside heater. One little bitty rock poked a little bitty hole in soft aluminum coil. And they don't fix them. They don't JB weld them. They replace them. He said, Ronnie, I'm going to learn about this. See, when somebody says you something, that's God trying to tell you something. I'm going to act on it next week. And I will sit down. And I'm going to verify that everything is ready before I go in. And why am I doing this thing? Because you got to understand, who owns the company that I work for?
Pinky.
Pinky. By extension, God. But yes, Pinky. Everything's about Pinky. All my shirts, everything's Pinky. Everything is centered around the brand. And like I said, when I set this whole thing up, I set it, everything else under her. And I remember this voice, AJ, and it said, what if something happened between you and Amber? See, that was Satan coming back and trying to check me. And I said it like this. Then don't do nothing stupid.
Don't run no mailbox.
But the point is that happened because I did it the next day. So don't feel bad about it. And I did that when I did it the next day, and I bumped into mine, and I heard these words. You see how easy it was. But the point is that I'm doing everything for her, and by extension, that crew back there. That's what I'm doing. By extension, I'm doing it for y'all, but you guys are all within this circle. This is what I'm called to do. This is what I'm walking according to, and it's not for me. Money is not for money. I'm just a tool to get there. See, I blew so much of my past. Wasted time, wasted effort, chased all these things. It's time now that I serve what is right. And it's right there. By extension, it's right there.
Right, but it's taking you all those years to learn.
And if I've got 5 years, Zeke, I would rather spend 5 years of living a life with a goal than to spend 30 years with regrets. I'll close with this. What do you want?